Hello, welcome back to Unleash Your Green Gorilla, my series of little talks by me and my guests. When I find someone that is interesting that I interview, we explore sustainability, we explore soft skills in sustainability in particular. I'm Virginia Cinquemani. I'm the director and founder of a company called Green Gorilla Consultants Ltd. And Green Gorilla is focused on coaching and training sustainability professionals to make an impact, to really become the strongest version of themselves so they can push sustainability in the world. So welcome. If you are following from LinkedIn or from YouTube, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat box, to tell me who you are, where you're from, maybe ask some questions. Now, today's session is about learning to sell and how that can help you or to help every one of us towards a more sustainable world. Now, I don't know about you and your experience of selling, but I started when I was about 20. I'm a technical person. I used to be an architect. I got technical skills. But in order to pay for my studies, I had to get some little jobs, like lots of kids do. And my first job ever was actually selling sausages in a supermarket. Don't ask. I hope that's, fun, interesting trivia for you about me. But it was a completely different world at that time. I wanted to push because obviously I had a commission. I was paid by day. The more I sold, the better I would, I'd be basically better off. And it wasn't ethical. I would just try and throw those sausages at whoever were listening to me. So anyway, that was my idea of selling at that time. Selling has changed over the years. And by the way, we talk about selling and ethical selling or better, selling sustainability ethically in one of our courses at Green Gorilla, one of the e-learning courses in the masterclass program. You can check on the website, thegreengorilla.co.uk. But also, and I'm going to talk about this a bit more at the end of this, we talk about selling as one focus month in the Sustainable Mastermind that is coming up in March. Now, I'm going to put a new banner right now. Can you see that? Now, if you're interested in joining the mastermind or know more about it, well, this is the link to show your interest and register your interest for the mastermind. But effectively, that's a 4-month program for sustainability professionals and leaders to become better at communicating and selling and project managing and becoming more resilient. And all of that to push sustainability, to get better jobs, to get promoted, but obviously to push sustainability in the world. So it's all the professional skills that you need in order to become a successful sustainability professional. So we're going to talk about the mastermind again later. For now, let me put back the main banner here. There you go, how learning to sell will help towards a more sustainable world. So don't be shy, guys. Tell me who you are, where you're from, say hi. I love to do that, interact with the chat while I'm talking. So this is going to last for about half an hour. So let's get started. So most technical people can't sell. That's a fact, because technical people and many sustainability professionals fall in that category. They love their data, they love the facts, they love the science behind it. And sometimes the science and people skills are a bit at odds. Now, obviously, this is not, I don't want to generalize, but usually technical people and sustainability professionals can't sell. Or they think they can't, and that's a difference. And hello, Susana from Portugal. Welcome here. So, if you think you can't sell, let's understand why. I just told you the little story about me selling sausages in a supermarket. So, that's a shameful start of my career. That's what I had in mind in terms of selling. I'm trying to push a product. It doesn't matter who I got in front of me. I'm going to just push that product and I'm going to sell it. And I don't care because I want my commission, etc. I was actually fairly successful at that, but it wasn't great. It didn't have a lot of meaning for me. I needed the money to pay for my studies. And hello, Alessandra from Colombia. So I read this book a few years ago that is called To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. He's an American author, a journalist as well. And I love that book because really it made me think deeply about the act of selling. In the old days, selling was pushing something towards someone else, whether they like it, whether they don't like it, you want to sell, you push that product. And that is obviously unethical because people in front of you might not need that product. And if you con them, if you convince them with some arguments that might not even be true, that they need that product, then obviously you have tricked them. And that's not ethical at all. But unfortunately, in the past, before the internet days, I would say, people didn't have that knowledge. They couldn't research the products on, quickly to see whether the claims from the salesperson were right or wrong, were true or untrue. Nowadays, we can basically buy everything online, everything. Why do we need salespeople? So salespeople at that time, back in the days, had they detained the knowledge effectively. They were the knowledge in terms of whatever product you wanted to sell. So we had to trust them. Some people, the less ethical ones, would just push the product, tell you lies, and sell. And that's unfortunately the legacy of that profession, the salespeople profession, sales. Well, now it's completely different. So in the book that I mentioned, To Sell is Human, Daniel Pink talks about actually the act of selling, but also read influencing others is completely natural. This is what we do every day, all day. We negotiate our way through life. And I always take the example of pushing my children to eat one more spoon of greens. And I start using all these arguments about, oh, please do one for me, eat one for me, or it's going to make you grow, or if you don't do it, you're not going to have pudding. So can you see these are all different influencing techniques? I'm trying to convince my children to eat their greens. And this is what we do anyway, all the time. So come to the realization that selling is normal. Of course, we don't exchange money all the time, but the influencing act is normal and natural. And hello, oh wow, we got a very international audience today. Maria, hey, Maria from Dublin, and Na Attila from Malaysia. Welcome, welcome, people. So if we have that idea that selling is a dirty thing, of course we're not going to do it because we think we are better. We got technical knowledge. Why should we sell? Sometimes we have also that idea that selling is a dirty thing and is something that people with no qualifications do, which is completely untrue. So to sell is human. That's the first step. Now, the reason why I like that book so much is besides telling me, well, actually, before the internet, the salespeople, I had the knowledge, so you had to rely on them, and that wasn't good all the time. He also told me that modern salespeople, the reason why they are there is to actually help their customers. So instead of thinking they have to sell, they actually want to help their customers find a solution for their problems. Mainly what they do is to curate the information that you can find available online all the time, so that your customer doesn't get confused, your client doesn't get confused. Because there is a lot of stuff going on the internet. So you guys that work in sustainability, I would assume if you are here, or they are interested in sustainability, have this role to convince others, perhaps your clients, perhaps your colleagues, sometimes even your family, that sustainability is worthwhile. We need to embrace sustainability. The way you do that is by thinking that you actually are helping people, not necessarily pushing something they don't need. We all need sustainability. We all need to become more sustainable. So it's a slight shift in terms of pushing something versus explaining, curating the information, being available for people to understand better, because that's another thing. Education is a big part of selling. You need to tell people what they need to know, because sometimes people refuse to embrace something like sustainability just because they don't understand it. So one big role of a salesperson in sustainability, or anyone, because as we said, to sell is human, is to explain and to educate. Obviously, if you're here, I assume you want sustainability to go mainstream. You know, we want to save the world, right? We're very highly, you know, we have got high values in that sense. So we want to save the world, which means we need to push it. We need to push sustainability at any possible opportunity. As people with technical knowledge, or even as just people with passion for sustainability, we have the moral responsibility to do that, because we have to save the world, don't we? So if we shy away from that, then we are wasting our talent, and we're staying small, and we're staying to the day-to-day nitty-gritty stuff that's happening in our life. Okay, but if we want to go big, we need to come out of our comfort zone and start pushing sustainability, as I will explain in a minute, ethically, with style, not being annoying, because that actually causes the opposite reaction in people. By any means, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer them. But I think there are some steps that you need to take in order to really become, you know, a good salesperson in sustainability. Now, first of all, you need to check your mindset. Do you have any blockers, any limiting beliefs about the fact that you can sell or influence others or not? Because that's usually what stops you. Of course, you might have technical knowledge, but if you don't use it in the right way, if you push it to people in terms of, you know, just telling them data, numbers, percentages, you're going to have zero impact. And I'm saying zero impact. You need to focus on the fact that you need to help your clients. So that's the other mindset shift. You're not trying to push them something that is not right for them, or that is not appropriate, or you're not trying to con them in any way. You're actually trying to help your clients. So go from the point of view of helping others, so start with that. And I promise that will make a whole lot of difference to the way you approach this activity. Now, in terms of selling your technical knowledge, I know plenty of technical people that cannot explain things easily or clearly. Now, we need to cut the jargon to absolute zero. We need to speak our clients' language. We need to get into their shoes and ask ourselves, do they understand me when I talk about net zero carbon, circular economy, and what have you? Because some people don't. Most people don't understand you when they say these things. They might not, but they might be not convinced, or they might not even know what you're talking about, but maybe they're shy and they don't want to look like fools, so they don't tell you. Now, one exercise that I often propose my clients is try and explain circular economy to a 5-year-old, or sustainability, or renewable energy, or whatever you deal with. Think in your mind, how would I explain that to a little kid? Not that you need to be patronizing, because your client might well be used to these terms, but it's always good to check whether actually they understand you, and really start talking the language. Data and number don't tell a story. That's the other thing. You need to be able to tell a story, because stories are the ones that actually convince people. Stories are the ones that really move and create change, because they tell you the why. Why should they be bothered? What's in it for them? Why should they embrace sustainability or the specific solution that you are pushing towards them? The data, the numbers, the details of the technical solutions, they're not going to convince anyone. You need to put a story together around it. Another piece of this is understanding who is your client. What personalities do they have? What role do they have within the company? Because depending on that, your language will need to change. Before I realized all of this, I was just coming from my own point of view. I would be just telling things the way I learned at my university or on the job, but I wouldn't be speaking my client's language. So, for example, if you have someone interested in profit, which is the majority of the cases, of course, if we are in business or if you're talking to business people, then you will need to talk profits and numbers, but monetary numbers with them. How can sustainability help them solve that particular problem? How can you talk in terms of money, marketing, what have you, to your clients so that they understand that sustainability can help them with their specific needs? Another thing is the practical aspect of communicating. If someone is a very scientifically minded person, which you would understand from the first conversation, then they might be interested in the spreadsheets and in the numbers and in the details. But if someone is a busy CEO who has a lot to do and on their plate, then they might be better off with a very short email explaining the vision, and the quick wins, than a long, lengthy email with lots of details they don't care about. If someone is focused on the social aspect, then focus on the social aspect. Maybe send them a voice message on WhatsApp. I have clients that I communicate that way with. Now we are in this world where we've got 1 million ways of communicating. It doesn't have to be an email. It doesn't have to be a Zoom call. There are many, many other opportunities, and everyone responds differently to those. So try and understand who you got in front of you. And another thing in terms of changing your mindset is take rejections as opportunities to learn. You need to develop resilience, because when you are in the selling mode, so if you're pushing sustainability, you might get a lot of rejections at first, but you need to understand why. So why are you being rejected? Is it personal? Is it something that is concerning the actual thing you're pushing? Is that at the right or the wrong time for your client to embrace this? So there are many questions to be asked there. And the questions and the answers to those questions will help you focus your attention on how to move on, how to do better next time. But you need to develop that resilience. Every salesperson in the world get a lot of no's before they get a yes. So it's a number game sometimes. Now, number two, so first was mindset. The second thing I would say that you need to focus on is, what are your actual client needs? So we were talking about the person who wants profit, for example. Is that something to keep them awake at night? Is that something that you can help with? The main question you should ask all the time is, what's in it for them? Not for you. You got your technical knowledge. You can use that. But how can you use that technical knowledge to help your client and address their needs? So, as I said before, you can talk to someone who wants profit in terms of opening new markets with sustainability, win over competition, have quicker returns, charge a premium for whatever they're selling, enhance their reputation. There's so many benefits that can help them sort out their problems. But you need to really understand what's in it for them. Why should they follow your lead? A very interesting thing that neuroscience teaches us in that sense is that you can actually manage to convince people if you can demonstrate that sustainability does one of those things for them. So it's 5 things, and the acronym is SCARF, SCARF, if you want to take a note. One is status. Would that particular solution make them better than others, or is it going to increase their status, which could be their reputation in the market? Number 2, certainty. Can you reassure them that that solution will solve their problems in the future? So can you give them that reassurance? Number 3, autonomy. So will you give them enough information, for example, in order to be able to understand and be autonomous? Because people hate losing control over things. If they don't understand something, they're not going to do it. So the education piece is very important. The knowledge piece is important so that they can be autonomous, so they can do things that are in their own, they understand, they can be on board of their own accord, starting from their own, will. The other thing is, can you convince them that sustainability will will make them related to others. So relatedness is another one. Have somebody else, for example, done that before? Are they part of a club now? Because we are social animals, so that also helps. If you can tell them, look, many people have done it before, that helps with certainty as well, because it's demonstrated. It's not, a pioneering thing that you're doing. You can demonstrate to others that whatever they want to do, your client wants to do, others have done it using sustainability, and therefore, and they have the results. So case studies are very important in that sense. So how are they going to be part of that club? And finally, fairness. So sustainability needs to be a no-brainer, not a rip-off. There is a lot of misconception around whether sustainability is an added premium, which it is sometimes, but you need to demonstrate how that has returns in other ways. Maybe in marketing, maybe in exposure, maybe actually money over time, depending on the situation. So is it fair, this particular solution to them? Or are they going to feel, ripped off by what you're offering? Okay, so these are the 5 things that usually the neuroscience demonstrate that help people come on board. So if you can influence them, if you can demonstrate status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness, or one of them, or all of them. Okay, so the third element of this, so we talked about mindset and changing your own mindset about selling. We talked about what are your client needs and who are your clients in the first place. What language can you use for them? How can you demonstrate the sustainability is helping them? And third and last point is listen and ask open questions. This is super important. We talk about selling as someone that is like, blah, 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 and they don't leave any space to others to actually say anything. Maybe they have a pitch in their mind and they'll just go through that. It's standard, it's the same for everyone. And it doesn't matter what your client thinks. And that's the worst way of approaching this. And sometimes technical people do exactly the same. They're learned, they're going to tell people always the same thing in the same way. They don't listen. So I would say start using your listening skills. Pay attention to what others are saying. When you have a meeting, for example, with a client, especially one of the first meetings, really listen, take the opportunity to understand their point of view, to understand whether there are gaps in knowledge, to understand the opportunities that might show up that your client might not be aware of, but because you're the expert, they might actually tell you some important information that allow you to do a better job, to spot opportunities, to spot risks as well, which is very important in sustainability, using sustainability as a risk management system. But unless you ask those open questions, why, what, how, when, all of that, and listen really carefully to what your clients say, you're not going to do that. You're not going to spot the opportunity. You're not going to spot the risks. So the fact that you're listening as well and listening actively, so really engaging face and eyes and responding to what they say, not being distracted, etc., will build trust and rapport with your client. Being listened to is the first form of respect, as you probably know from your own life. If you're not listened to, you feel disrespected. So attentive listening actually increases the amount of trust that your client has towards you and can help you greatly to enrich that relationship and to eventually to be able to influence them much easier. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. Do you have any questions for me? So we talked, just a recap, we talked about why selling is important, and it's important because we haven't got, we need to use our skills to push sustainability as much as we can. If we have that sustainability knowledge, shying away from it doesn't help anyone. We really need to throw ourselves in, but we need to change our mindset. So sustainability selling is ethical, is to help people, is to help the planet. So we are actually offering a service. We are not trying to push something that people don't want. Try and understand your own blockers and limiting beliefs about that. What's stopping you from doing it? Focus on your client's needs. why should they listen to you? What's in it for them? And can you convince them by using their own language, eliminating jargon, showing them that they can increase their status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. And finally, if you listen attentively and actively and ask open questions, you'll be much better. You will have a better rapport with them and be much better off in convincing them. Does that make sense? Any comments, any questions? I know there is a bit of delay, so I'm going to hang around for another minute. In the meantime, I can show you again the banner with the register your interest for the coming up mastermind. So there is a new mastermind for sustainability professionals and leaders that I'm starting in March. We're coming up to a year of the first couple of groups of masterminds that I've done, that I've opened last year. It's been an amazing journey. In fact, we're not stopping here. We are keeping the mastermind going because it's been such a positive experience for everyone. And the mastermind effectively is a group of like-minded people with sustainability at heart that want to make their skills better. This mastermind that is starting in March is going to be a 4-month-long program in which you will learn how to sell. So we're going to go into a lot more details on this. We're going to have a whole month focused on selling and influencing others. We're going to have a whole month focused on communicating sustainability for change. We're going to talk about project managing sustainability and people as well, which is important. And we're going to talk about resilience and how to develop your resilience. So each month we focus on one theme. We're going to go deep diving in. It's about an hour and a half every week over the space of 4 months. We're going to have challenges. We're going to have exchanges, and it's going to be amazing. So if you're interested in that, just follow the link here below. bit.ly SOST mastermind and register your interest. If you want more information, either contact me or go to thegreengorilla.co.uk where you can find more information about it. And that's it, really. So selling is part of what Green Gorilla does. So teaching about selling, really, and selling ethically. There is also an e-learning course that you can take at any point in time that goes into a lot more details than what I managed to do today. Do you have any questions for me, any comments? I hope it was useful. It was a quick overview over the, selling ethically and why it's important. I hope it gave you some, some good ideas, perhaps something that you need to focus on, something to improve. I hope it was useful in some ways. But if you want to contact me about any of this or ask questions that you might not want to ask here in front of everyone, just let me know and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And if you want to have a chat about the mastermind, you can book in my calendar. So just ask me for the link and we can have a little chat and I can tell you more about it. Oh, okay, hold on. Brian, hello, Brian. It's lovely to see you here. There is one question or maybe a comment. Reacting something you said a while ago, save the planet puts the people off, prefer save the world for human occupation, might engage a few more skeptics than non-engaged. You can be more focused depending upon the audience. I forgot to say that, Brian. Actually, thank you for the reminder. When you come from the ethical point of view, you will put a lot of people off because you will be the preacher and, nobody really likes those sort of people. Well, that's why I always suggest you need to focus on the needs of your client. And of course, the aftermath is that you're going to save the planet at the same time. And sustainability is the solution to anything, pretty much. However, try and avoid the preachy jargon, the sustainable ethical argument, because that doesn't usually resonate with people unless you find another tree hugger like you, in which case, have fun, it's great. But yeah, try and understand that's why it's important to understand who you got in front of you. Even if it's a whole room full of people, really try and understand what is their background, or how can you get through them using their own language. No, said, thank you, very insightful. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Maria. Lots of takeaways from you, and yeah, really useful, especially scarf. Yeah, if Alessandra, if you're interested in the scarf neuroscience research, it was by someone called David Rock. So just Google it, Dr. David Rock. It's very, very interesting, the science of influencing other people. And it really goes into the deep needs of a human being. Sometimes, well, basically, just very quickly, we either run away from threat, or we seek pleasure. As we know, our whole life is in between these two. And when we feel threatened, even if it's not, a bear following us or, chasing us, we feel any sort of threat, even at work, as a survival challenge. And those 5 elements, the scarf elements, are the ones that are perceived as rewards, better even than money sometimes. They are very basic needs of the human being. There are like the pleasure elements that we can reward people with. They help them against their fears, so their threats. So very interesting research. I love psychology and science in that sense, and neuroscience. So I think that was going to be quite interesting for you too. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. Do get in touch if you want me, to explain more about any of this, or to chat about the mastermind. I'm here for you. And yeah, see you soon. Hopefully next week. Bye.